Hey guys, welcome. This is Brad Krantz. Welcome to Monday Morning Leadership, actually a special edition here today, actually recording on Friday, 9/11. But I've got a good friend and partner, Ruth Easterling, on with Coaching with Ruth, the Real Coaching with Ruth. She's a former pastor, and she's also certified with the John Maxwell Team. So please help me welcome Ruth Easterling. Hey, there she is. Welcome, Ruth.
Thanks, Brad. Nice to see you.
Hopefully we got a better connection when we tried this morning.
Yeah.
So kicking it off. Yeah, we're recording this on Friday. Won't be out till Monday. So everybody watch it. We'll see it Monday. This will be kind of part of my Monday morning leadership. But, obviously today's kind of a day of infamy for our country, 9/11. Kind of bittersweet in what that happened, but it did unify the country. So I just want to recognize that this special day in our unfortunate special day in our country. So Ruth, thank you so much for joining me here. I wanted to ask you about, and when I got into online marketing, social media here probably about a year and a half ago, it was okay, what do I post? Because most people get on there, most of us, we're not taught, we don't have a strategy for social media. We're just kind of there, maybe spending some time posting a few hee-hees and ha-has, that type of stuff. But when I heard John Maxwell, this is from his book Leadership, he was talking about adding value. I said, there you go. I'm going to add value. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it, but that's what I want to do. I want to be someone who's adding value to others. So I know you understand that. You've talked about it, but explain how you see adding value.
Well, I think when you look at the way people are operating right now during COVID, it's been an interesting time because a lot of people feel like they're not quite sure where they're at. And one of the things that I teach in this 15 laws of growth is understanding awareness of yourself, of like where you've been, where you are, and where you're going. And being able to recognize consistency in your life and how to continue to add value to yourself, as well as adding value to other people.
Mm-hmm. I think that's great because I don't think we're not really taught that. And you mentioned a kind of a key buzzword for me, self-awareness. I don't think that's taught. I know I never learned that in school, college and that, but being self-aware, knowing kind of who you are, what you're about, maybe your strengths and weaknesses. So that's great because I see so many people out there, they just really lack self-awareness. But if you don't know what you don't know. So here's my big question for you. This is the fastball is, tell me a little bit about your why. Why is Ruth, you're kind of making a midlife change in careers. You're a pastor at one time, wife and mother and that, but now you're jumping into this leadership thing. What's your why?
Well, I have to be honest that leadership, when I was pastoring, there's a gigantic leadership void. And so when I saw the opportunity to spend one-on-one time coaching people to understand their goals and their vision, and then being able, the opportunity to take teams, whether they're pastoral teams or business teams, and helping them to see how to connect with each other and to connect with other people, I jumped at the opportunity because I have to say, working with people is probably one of my favorite things to do. Okay, so it was worth shall we say, the change in career as I approach 50.
Yeah. I'm already past there. Yeah, that's great, Ruth, because I know one thing I've seen, I talked about this in my Monday morning leadership last week, but I think one of the weaknesses with leadership and trying to define it and actually see it put into practice is we're never taught it. You're not taught it in school. Most colleges, I think, don't teach it. I think there's only maybe a handful or less of MBA programs that actually teach leadership, but those programs tend to be focus more on the managerial side and not really understanding leadership as a whole, that it's leading people. Leadership is influence, all this stuff, but you have to also be able to relate to people. And that's something that doesn't get taught.
Right. And, one of the things that I offer, and I've been talking to a couple of people recently, is that I don't come in and bring some canned, information to a group. I come in and I see where the group is at, And then I try to help the group be able to focus together and bring their small group in interacting with each other and working together. And then I offer that one-on-one to help people if they need more work on their vision or other parts.
That's great. So I applaud what you're doing. I'm glad you're here. Hey, let's jump. I want to tell us a little bit about your upcoming mastermind class on the 15 laws of growth. I'm going to do a quick screen share here. We were talking earlier today, and you said that's really based on John Maxwell's book, The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. Is that correct?
Right. And so over 8 weeks, this is kind of an individual one or a small group class. We'll be going over all 15 laws, which really are areas of growth that we all need in our lives. It doesn't matter how old you are or where you've been, whether it's spiritual, emotional, mental, it challenges each one of us in different ways. And so it will impact a person in lots of different ways. And there is no doubt you would leave the class a changed person because because we're gonna dive into each one of those areas of growth.
Okay, so question on this, actually 2 questions on this, is why this topic? Did this book just really stick out to you when you read it? I haven't, that's one of his few books, I haven't read it, I have to admit it. I went kind of through the chapter summary, but I haven't read it. But why did you pick this topic in particular?
Well, I think during this time of COVID, all of us have been challenged to grow. I mean, I know that like for myself, I have 3 girls. I am busier than busy. And literally during the shutdown for those 2.5 months, I mean, I did nothing. I mean, almost nothing.
Yeah.
And that's not like me. And honestly, it's been a period of growth. I mean, I've had to go from having a part-time job to doing things like all the time to doing almost nothing. And then now my children are at home. They're being homeschooled online. And I mean, our lives are completely different, but it's challenged me to grow. It's challenged me to force myself to change. And I believe that change equals growth.
Yep.
And so each of us have been forced to change over the last 6 months. I don't care who you are or what circumstances you've been in, you have been forced to grow. And so this 15 laws of growth is just 15 different areas in which all of us need to grow.
Okay. That's a great point you make about change, because I know most of us, I'll say, I think probably most of us kind of tend to resist change. And change obviously can be bad, but it can be a good thing, because again, what you're talking about caused you to grow. But with this whole COVID-19 thing, we were really forced to, hey, if you're not going into work anymore, you've got to change. And maybe, voila, we've got this thing called Zoom that now everybody knows everything about. And that's kind of how we do business. So next question on this, and we talked about this, but which of the 15 laws is your favorite, and tell me a little bit about it?
Okay. Well, I have to say, some of John Maxwell's ideas are kind of interesting. I mean, they're just different, but the one that really resonates with me is, you got up there, the law of the rubber band.
See if I can expand this without it.
Yeah, it was such a great concept, because if you think about a rubber band, and it's like when you stretch it, then it actually works. But if you don't stretch it, it's really not being used for its purpose, right?
Yeah,
so growth stops when you lose the tension between where you are and where you could be. And that's kind of, we all are rubber bands. Yeah. And so if we're not being stretched, then we're not being used for the way we were intended to be used.
Right. And this brings up an interesting observation on that, because, both of us, you said almost 50. I won't ask your age. I just hit 60 in July, but it seems like a lot of times the older you get, you stop growing. And I think what's so sad is I see so many people that are just stuck somewhere and they don't want to grow. I mean, growth is optional. You don't have to grow, but it's like that stretching the rubber band. The rubber band could just sit there, but it's not really being used the way it is unless you stretch. But why do you think so many people resist growing inside and just kind of stop at a certain point?
Well, Brad, if I could figure that one out, I'd have $1 million. But
you'd be wealthy, huh? That's the $64 billion question.
Yeah, it totally is, because I could market that in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
But it was really interesting this last week because I sent out to my email list, I sent out the information for this class. And I had a woman email me back and she said, I love your classes, but I just don't think I have any area to grow. And I said, I just have to be honest, you know, I email back. I said, I just have to be honest with you. I said, I totally believe that if you're not growing, then you're dead. And that we all have been called to grow for the rest of our lives. Even if you're 95, there's still things for us to grow and us to learn.
Yep.
And if it's not an emotional thing, you know, you've kind of conquered those mountains, then it might be a spiritual thing. It might be a physical thing that you're just trying to grow through. And we all have areas in our lives that we need to grow in. And so I think some people just get stuck and they kind of forget that we are supposed to grow into wholeness.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, it's getting who we get around. A lot of people, we could get in the whole topic of the power of association. You become who you get around. But I always use the analogy. It's like if you're rowing upstream or whatever, the minute you stop paddling, you're going backwards. And I think growth is a lot like that. You've got a certain point, you went through high school, maybe you went through college, you had your career, whatever. But then I see some of you, they just stop. They don't read anymore. Again, we're having to stretch. I should have had a rubber band here to do, but we're not stretching that rubber band. We're happy being here. Ruth's got a rubber band here. So
I was gonna grab it because I always have it.
There we go.
There you go.
But we don't want, but I think we also need to get around the right people to help. I like to use the term empowerment because I think that's really powerful. But if you're not around people that can empower you, you can just kind of, I guess, have a settle for life or, well, I'm doing okay, but you don't really have any impetus to grow. So I think that's a great topic. So kind of in closing, tell me a little bit about what you're excited for, what you're hoping to see, and then how people can sign up for this mastermind.
Okay. Well, next week, I would love it. I'm hoping to start 2 classes on Wednesday and Thursday night. And the nice part about even, sending out this video is that it doesn't matter where you live, you can come. Yep. And because obviously we're going to be meeting via Zoom on Wednesday and Thursday night. And depending, I've had classes in which some people from Michigan have been in my Seattle meeting. Yeah. And I've had people from Utah in. And so it's not necessarily, you don't have to be on the Pacific Standard Time. Yep. Obviously, if you are, that's wonderful. And I would love it if you could contact me. And I'm going to give you my website. It's realcoachingwithruth.org. And my email is ruth.easterling@gmail.com. And I would love to talk to you if you're interested. And I'll send you links to sign up. And we are going to have a great time. We are going to grow and we're going to be challenged. And it's going to be a lot of fun because I always try and make my classes fun.
That's good. Yeah, learning is better when it's fun, when it's not stale. But hey, Ruth, thank you so much for joining me. Hey, everybody, I'll the link, her contact information will be on the thumbnail for this video on YouTube. I'll also include it in the description as well, so you can reach out to her via her website or her email too. But please feel free to reach out if you've got value on this video. I hope you did today. I hope we both added value to you today. Please feel free to hit the subscribe button. And as usual, you are more than welcome to, and I encourage you to reach out and connect with me on social media, guys. Thanks so much for joining me today.
All right, thanks, Brad. I appreciate it.
You got it.
All right, we'll see you later.
Bye-bye.